Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. Now this is of course Samsung's most feature-packed flagship smartphone, with the best camera, the most powerful specs, the S Pen, and a whole lot more. It's also Samsung's most expensive device, and this year it's actually even pricier. But Samsung has brought a lot of new stuff to this phone, including a refreshed design with all new materials and a whole bunch of new AI features that are quite useful, which I feel like is a pleasant surprise given the 24s, so you can get yourself a good deal if you're interested. Peeling off the stickers and sliding off the lid, the first thing you get is the phone itself. Now mine is in the titanium gray color, which is sort of that raw metal finish. You can also get the phone in black, yellow, and violet in stores, or green, blue, and orange online exclusively from Samsung. USB-C cable for charging the phone, and a small packet of instructions and information. And the last little accessory is just a tiny SIM ejector tool fastened to that cardboard insert. With all, quickly talk about the price of this phone. The S24 Ultra this year starts at $1,300 for the two foldable smartphones on the market, but Samsung's pre-order deals saw the double the storage on us promotion again this phone at its cheapest current price. So at a glance, the S24 Ultra no doubt retains a lot of the physical design traits we've seen from the last couple Ultra smartphones, but Samsung did some minor changes here and there that I think will make some people happy. It once again has a massive 6.8-inch display corner to corner, but this time the bezels, or those black borders framing the display, are completely even. You get about an 88.5% screen to body ratio, which if you're taking notes is technically lower than last year, but that's because this year Samsung ditched the curved edge, so this phone is now totally flat all the way around. That is something I know a lot of people will appreciate. And it's actually something I noticed right away when I held this phone in my hand. I think the flatter sides are overall just a bit more comfortable, and the screen itself doesn't end up having any wasted space or unnecessary distortion with the curved glass. Speaking of glass, both the front display glass and rear cover glass are an all-new material, Corning's Gorilla Glass. It's also supposed to be the most optically optimized as well, with less glare and attracting fewer. It's titanium, of course. Curious about how this titanium looks compared to the other titanium phone? Well, there you go. Slightly different, I suppose. Samsung's is a bit more sparkly or shiny or reflective, I guess, and actually makes the S24 Ultra a tiny bit lighter weight-wise, but it's not exclusive to the Ultra this year. The regular S24 and S24 Plus are still constructed from aluminum. Taking a look around at everything else, there's nothing on the left side of the phone. On the right, familiar power and volume buttons alongside a 5G antenna, a couple of microphone holes at the top, and on the bottom, your USB-C port, speaker, S Pen, of course, and the SIM card tray. Samsung is an agent of chaos, it seems. They put a pin-sized microphone hole right next to the SIM ejector button hole, so make sure you poke the right one for the SIM card tray to pop out. There's no expandable storage front and center below the earpiece and secondary speaker, an upgraded quad lens camera setup around back that I'll talk more about shortly, and an in-display fingerprint sensor for getting into the phone, which I don't believe has changed in any way, but feels very quick and accurate. Now, in addition to the new, stronger, and less glare-prone front glass, the display itself on the S24 Ultra has been improved slightly. The 6.8-inch screen is still a Quad HD Plus resolution 1440p panel. Displays you can buy, but you get the point. Blacks for just the ultimate viewing experience, but it's also a much brighter display this year, with up to 2600 nits of peak brightness. That is incredibly bright, almost 1000 nits higher than last year, and quite a bit brighter than even the likes of the iPhone 15 Pro. Coupled with the new Gorilla Glass, this is probably the best viewing experience on a smartphone right now. And actually, after playing around with this phone for a little while now, I'm surprised at just how much I notice how much better the display really is. Especially here in Las Vegas, where during the summertime, it's bright outside, there's usually a ton of glare. I think this phone is going to be one of the best visually for those sorts of situations. But it's also just a great phone for all your casual YouTube watching and Netflix binging too. When it comes to the out loud speaker setup, there's the one bottom speaker there, and the secondary one hidden in the earpiece up at the top, and I'm not aware of any specific changes to the hardware, but to me, the speakers sound extra loud this year. Here's a quick sound sample so you can get an idea. Any physical changes to the S Pen itself? It has that very precise pointy tip, the physical button, the AR gesture controls, and a handful of writing and drawing focused apps with a customizable shortcut menu that presents itself when you pop the pen out. On the one hand, hasn't really changed or otherwise highlighted the S Pen for a couple of years now, so it's great noteworthy. Now, with that being said, Samsung has been highlighters and everything else on this phone is a new, more powerful Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chipset, an Adreno 750 GPU, paired to 12 gigabytes of RAM. You might remember in years past that the base model Ultra had 8 gigabytes of RAM, but this year 12 gigs is both the default and max amount, regardless of the storage option you choose. Here are the Geekbench scores for those of you who like to compare numbers. Now, generally speaking, this is one of the most spec'd out Android devices on the market when it comes to performance, and Samsung actually spent a good deal of time talking about the improved efficiency and cooling capabilities of the processor inside this. Didn't really mention any improved charging speeds or add any other new power features. You get 45-watt wired fast charging with the appropriate cable and wall plug, 15-watt wireless charging, 4.5-watt reverse wireless charging, and a myriad of battery optimization features and low power modes to extend the life of your device throughout the day based on your needs. And I'll of course be putting this phone's longevity to the test in my full review. Finally, as is the case, well, every year, Samsung has once again improved the camera setup on the S24 Ultra. And with this, it's sort of a multi-layer upgrade. The hardware around back actually isn't that different. You get that crazy 200 megapixel main lens, but the telephoto periscope lens is a new and improved 50 megapixel shooter. There's an additional 10 megapixel telephoto lens, and the 12 megapixel ultra wide shooter, and an AI assist for better. The zoom is super steady and smooth, and with the help of AI, it's also a lot clearer, even well beyond the optical zoom limits. I tested this phone out at a recent basketball game where I sat all the way in the nosebleed seats, and I literally had a better view of the players than I would on TV when I used that more here than meets the eye. The phone itself was redesigned, and it's made up of all new materials all the way around. The screen is brighter, it's faster and more powerful with actual AI features that improve day-to-day use, and the cameras have been refined in a way that makes them a lot more practical and a lot less gimmicky. Let me know.